All right, welcome back, everyone. It looks like everyone here survived, at least. We're not sure about the people that are at home sleeping. They may be recovering yet. As I said in opening ceremonies is about the nonprofits, to learn what their missions are, learn what we work on, learn what the projects is. Today, this is about a celebration of what everyone else accomplished this weekend. So, in the best way I can, I put some statistics together to summarize what we accomplished this weekend. We had 96 volunteers, and that means volunteers, developers, designers, database. That is a record. We've never had that many before. 8 organizers, 10 support staff of random engaged people and other people that came help us with food and everything else. 25 nonprofit representatives, 13 kids code camp for 152 total people that were here this weekend, some way, shape, or form involved in GiveCamp. So, of those, this is the 96 volunteers. This isn't all the other support stuff. This is actually working on projects. Donated roughly 2,300 hours for $230,000 in value. Divide that among the 13 nonprofits, it's $18,000 per nonprofit is what was donated if you bill it out hourly. At an average rate, we have some students and everything else. So. We also crossed a milestone this year for GiveCamp. This is the 7th year we've done it. If we add up what we've done over the 7 years so far, we now have over $1 million of value we've generated in the 7 years we've done this so far at GiveCamp. So we were pretty excited to see that as organizers, having done this for a while. So in those 7 years, we've done 78 projects with over 500 volunteers at over $1 million, and the average over those years is $15,000 per project. Just saw Bill walk in. I was going to give you credit. You're here anyway. So,
perfect timing,
for those who didn't know, Bill Coley is the local state senator. He was here yesterday morning. He came last year and spent a long time here last year talking to all the nonprofits, and he really likes what everyone does. So, he wanted to take a couple minutes and talk about how important this is to the area.
Thank you so much. You know, you guys, this project is one of my favorite things to go through every year because I love creativity. I love the energy that I get from being around you guys, and it's contagious. And it's funny. I always joke with Rob and all the folks at Miami and UC. I mean, if you're a young student and you want to go into this field, why you're not here? I scratch my head. It's a chance to hang around not only the best in the region. Some of these guys are the best in the world at what they do. And you just sit around and you talk. They kick around ideas and you're making things happen. It's just amazing, and that's what it's all about in any kind of community. It's about how do we look around and analyze the needs of our community. And how do we fix those things? And you know, how do we put our heads together collectively and just say, you know what, we're going to do this. There's no governmental involvement here. There's no gun to anybody's head making them do this. No one's getting paid to be here. It's just right from here, as people saying, hey, I've got talents, I've got skills that'll help my fellow citizens. And I'm going to get with a bunch of like-minded people and make that thing happen. So you guys, again, I mean, I know you just crossed the big threshold here, and I just think more great things are to come. So thank you for everything you do, and I can't wait to see you again next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. So without further ado, now we're going to see what everyone accomplished this weekend. So I put this slide up at the beginning to show this truly is Southwest Ohio GiveCamp, and that there's some from Dayton, some from Cincinnati area. These are the dots on the map represented by the zip codes of the nonprofits that are here today. So the first one on the list is Civic Garden Center, and this was, they have developed as a team lead. We're going to have team leads come up. If nonprofits want to say a few words, try to keep it to about 4 minutes at a piece, because otherwise we end up being here too long. Everyone's been here a long time this weekend. Whole team.
Apparently your default is
I hate when that thing is on my
Yep. Hey, there we go. All right, so we're developing a community garden finder for the Civic Garden Center. So their users want to come to their main website, and the idea was to give them a way to find the gardens in their community. They're close by, so they can join them, help start producing food, crops, growing, get involved, or even donate some tools, some money, help the projects all around the city. And we just didn't have a good way of really helping them search to find what they needed in a better manner. So we put together this quick little web app that allows them to come in here, and we've preloaded it with some data that we were testing with and the actual gardens. So basically they can come in, they can search for everything from neighborhood to address, so we can look for, let's see, we got some in, you can just like look for specific ones, you get real-time searching, so they can search by neighborhood, by address, by city, you know, whatever information is available about that garden, they can search, and this thing will return the results for them really easily. They can come in here and they can view information about a garden, everything they need to know about whether or not there's open space, who to contact, where that garden is. They can even click here and it'll take them straight to get directions to that garden so they know and they can go check it out. There is news feeds, so now the people who are running that garden can finally get the latest news about what's going on at that location out to the people who are interested in being a part of that garden. They can see what's coming up. You can also see some statistics about the garden. We have two statistics that we're providing to them, and that's the amount of pounds of food grown at that location and the amount that was donated. These are also two nice things just to show how the gardens are doing in the community. We basically provided them two different modes. We have this, which is for the users, which we also made mobile friendly so that we can shrink it down. I don't have a phone here, but I'll shrink the browser down so you can see it. So you can see that it's finally now that users that don't necessarily have a computer can get to it on their phones, which will help spread the word and so people can get to on every device that they need to. So the other mode that we have is for the people at the Civic Garden Center. This is a mode that allows them to manage those gardens a lot easier, to get the information updated, to make sure that everything gets out. So we add the ability for them to log in to some accounts. Obviously you get some good ones here. And it adds a few more functionality pieces to it that now can come in. So they can administer some settings about that. They can go in and actually edit a garden information right there really quickly, easily, and then hit save and immediately see an immediate, the information getting out there. So this is going to be really helpful, I think, for them. We also allowed them to link it up to other social media. So if those gardens wanted to get involved in Facebook or have pictures on Flickr or Instagram, they can now get that out to their users as well. So we've added a bunch of new stuff, good location, easy for them to manage. The contact forms is probably the part that's going to help them out a lot. This allows them to, for people who are visiting these new websites for the gardens, to come in here and tell and communicate directly with the Civic Garden Center and say, I want to volunteer. And basically they can submit this email here, and that email will go off, and you can see here it says, thank you, people will reach out to you shortly. I would log in on my email there, but I just got a notification on my phone that that email came in from them, and that will go straight to them and allow them to get in contact with those people who want to get involved. And I think that's really what the whole point of this project is all about. Thank you.
Next up, we have Dayton Community Revitalization Network.
All right, I didn't make shirts, so we have shirts. Yeah. So, Dayton Community Revitalization Network, or DCRN, which is much easier to say. They started out with nothing. They needed a website, just kind of get their name out there and give them a way to take donations and have people, more importantly, join them from the community, join them in their mission. So they started out with nothing, no domain name or anything, so we got them, thank you, knock.com.
So we did this with Drupal, right?
Yeah, a combination of Drupal and Joomla, and I don't know how we got those all working together, but somehow we did. So here we go, here's the site, call to action right here for people to join their organization. And then I don't know if I think the way I want to do this is that we have a lot of great people work on this weekend. I don't want to stand up here and take all the credit for it because I literally did not. These guys did all the hard work. So here we go. Here's the website. We have some a nice slider of pictures of events that they have, they hold, and some testimonials we put on the screen. And then so you guys kind of worked on some sections here, and I'll like you just kind of go through them. So I'll let James step up here next and go through some of the parts that he worked on.
So he's putting us on the spot.
That's right.
So in here we've got several about pages, and they do exactly what you would expect. They tell you about DCRN. Nothing fancy here. Contact us stuff, a map. Talk about their areas of focus, the 3 things they really care about: community development, ex-offender reentry, and public schools. Give them a little place to showcase the things that their values under here. Talk about their credentials, or that, this gives them some legitimacy. These are the government documents that they have. And then a page on each of their board members.
Okay, there is actually a whole board members page by itself with a picture of the entire board at one time, and then a list of the various board members underneath. The individual board members can be reached through the menu, I'm showing here, or you can click on the board members page, and it will take you to his or her individual page. It took a little work Sherry and I put together to come up with pictures for all of these, because the bios they provided, most of them did not include pictures, but they had pictures from various events that we were able to get them from. I'll do it.
So one of the things that I found was really interesting about WordPress, this is my first time using WordPress ever, and it turns out to be a pretty nifty application, but one of the things that we did use was widgets. And so this is a widget that allows you to have pictures that will link out to their partners. So we got the images from each of these sites and put them together, and Mac created us a nice logo for, I don't know where Mac is, so that's the partners page. Yeah.
I was kind of back-end WordPress support. guys' goals was to have a logo, and I kind of got that ball rolling again to Mac. So that's definitely a work in progress that they can add something more that you can add to your letterhead. Previously, I guess your letterhead was just the skyline of Dayton, Ohio, which is great. Now you have a little bit more, now you do some embroidery, so you put on shirts and things like that. So,
Yeah, so we did hook up PayPal donations. I'm sure a lot of you guys have done this weekend. So yeah, they needed to get a website, they needed to get logos for the letterhead, for the website. So we accomplished all of that this weekend. I think we got everything we wanted to get done, and I had a great team. And
we went from nothing to substance.
Right, we had a great team this weekend, stayed the whole time. Awesome work, guys. Thank you.
So yeah, the note of that is they had nothing at all to come in, no logo, no nothing. So we went from absolutely nothing to this. So, exclusive services up next. Marku and the rest of whoever else from your team wants to come down.
Yeah, everyone else come here.
All right, so my name is Mark. I was the team lead for the exclusive services project, and I was very lucky because I have a very dedicated team. All of them stayed all throughout the weekend, including nonprofits. They barely slept, so I'm pretty happy to get home with this project and get some sleep. And a few of us couldn't make it to the demo, but there were 3 other people here, as well as Lakshmi, Ron, and Erin. We had Mac, Curly, Raj. And then Sean and Tracy, they're all sit here entire weekend, so I just got things started and they took off. So here I'm again looking at the results. So basically, we created a new site for them, website on WordPress, and the key thing we were after was to provide a place where there are clients that need primary care and addiction treatment that they provide, to have an easy way to see what their services are, be able to see what's coming up, what events are coming up, when they need to be there for their appointments, and also to be able to give an opportunity to donate to their cause. So that's kind of the key things we put up here. So I'm going to tag team here and go through some of the so you get the link here. Let's get this. Once again, that's always a good idea.
Yes, so this is our splash page. One of the big things we really wanted to focus on was having something really simple. We wanted to have as few links as possible, as few clicks as possible, and this was started from scratch on WordPress. So we've got our big call to action, taking you to services, because we figured if our users hit this site, the one major goal we want them to know is the services that Exclusive Services provides. See how many times I can say services in a sentence. So yeah, we've got a highlight of every single service that's being offered, and something cool about it too is that we decided that if you needed to download forms, because I guess the intake is kind of a complex process, there's a decent amount of forms, so we decided to put kind of our minimum barrier of entry for forms in these download buttons. So if I click this, it would download a zip file with all the forms that I needed to kind of walk into their locations and get started. So we've got a handful of pages. We've got kind of your standard About Us page. We've gotten events going. Is this, Josh, do you want to talk to events at all? Or?
Okay. Cool. So when it came to events, there are like 2 kinds of events that Exclusive Services augmented. One is the group times, where basically these are recurring events which happen like 2 or 3 times a day and 5 days a week usually, and the timings will rarely change. So one of the goals of the website is to make sure that the users can prominently see the group times separately from the rest of the events that exclusive services may be planning. So they have additional events which are like mostly recreational events, and we wanted to keep those two separate. So the group times are posted or currently are being created on Google Calendar. So exclusive services has their own Google Calendar, and we are pulling that information from the Google Calendar and displaying it on this page right here. So users can come in and look at all of this, the entire schedule for the whole month. They can also additionally go to the recreational events, which are posted on Facebook. So they could directly either go to their Facebook page and look at all of the events that are coming up, or they could just, while they're on the website, look at all of the events that are being planned for the next near future. So that's all about the events. Also on the main landing page, if you keep scrolling down, there is a section where we display just today's events. So they can, while they're on the landing page itself, they can quickly get it. Sorry, what? They can quickly glance at the upcoming events for the day and take action. So that's all there is to events, and probably let Becky speak about donations. Go ahead.
My primary kind of areas of the site that I did were services and about us, which have already been displayed, so I won't show them to you again. So one of the areas that we haven't talked about yet is donations. So on the home page, we have the option to donate at the very bottom. If they continue to scroll, or of course we always have it in the nav as well, which will take us to page here, and then they would click on donate, and it will display the same PayPal page that was just displayed in the previous nonprofit as well. So. Okay, the contact us page as well. We have the satisfaction survey, and then the subscribe to the email newsletter that goes out every month. I think it's monthly, something like that. So this is.
We have the risk assessment on the main page, home page. They can take an assessment here and get the results to see if they're in the risk zone, so they get a quick feedback right away if they should get contact them.
I won't fill it out because that would be personal.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So next up is Generation Dayton. They have a before picture from the app they did last year. And they did a mobile app, so we had to switch to the camera. And in the interest of time, everybody's doing a good job. We're going to pick up the pace a little because we're going to be here for 2 hours otherwise.
All right, I'll try to move fast. We've got our two hand models over here with their phones. We got our Android phone too. And so, yeah, like you saw, we made this app for them last year. It was kind of a small focused app, and the backend that we used for it went away. So luckily, Facebook, it was parse, Facebook open source parse. So we used the open source version and moved everything over. We also had to switch analytics over from using the parse analytics, which did not exist in the open source version, to use Fabric's Crashlytics answers. So we did that, and then we made a bunch of updates because we had extra time to the app. So one of the things we added, some of the new OS features, so that you can 3D touch or long press on Android and get app shortcuts to get in there. Our Android phone does not have a new OS, so because our other guys are gone, but it works if you have a late version or a new version of Android, believe us. What else? If you go into the card, we tried to make it a little bit more usable. You get the discounts that you can have on their loyalty card right up front, and we removed a PIN code that you used to have to access it just so that they had issues kind of communicating that within the organization, and we put the ability on the back end to turn that back on if they need to, but for now it's off. And what else did we do? Yeah, we did a lot of design tweaks on the event detail screen. Some bug fixes, we found some issues with some of our Facebook integration. We also added comments on the event details, which a lot of times when they create an event, there'll be new information that gets added on later. So you can kind of see, I think the Halloween event, there's a bunch of stuff. They're asking for like canned goods and stuff to be brought, so those get pulled in now. And that's about it.
Next up we have, and I have not pronounced this right all weekend, Glisten, I think. All right.
Okay, so for Glisten, they have a sign-up form for their email list that they do on their website, but when they go to a lot of the schools, they're offline, so they needed a way to be able to collect information offline, and they had paper forms that they were doing it with, and they wanted an app where they could collect this information and save it, and then like sync it to a Google Drive. So we created this simple app. Do you want to work it, Sarah?
Roland, are you
So you can just fill out this sign up. Yeah, so basically, he's going to fill it out, and it's so, I can miss a field. So we've got validations, so all the required fields are validated, email address is validated, and it'll show errors if you miss a field or don't enter valid data. And then we actually are saving in the local storage, so it saves it on the device. And then after we save the data, go ahead and press this button there. We have a little sync button, and the sync button does, it uses OAuth, so you sign into Google, and then it actually writes a CSV file up to their Google Drive, which they use to import into their database. And we built this all in Angular and Cordova, so. Because you didn't log into Google, yeah. And so if you don't log into Google, it fails, but you don't have to show it. I mean, trust us, it works. We just did a ton, so we were here testing it a whole bunch, so. That's about it.
Next up, we have Hyde Park Center for older adults.
Yes, we were Hyde Park Center for older adults. They just had a complete website refresh, so we put it in WordPress. We didn't really we changed a lot of the content, but not a lot of new content, but a few new features and stuff. I'm gonna try to go over each. Wish we had the old site. It's got a nice big image on the front screen, like all websites like to do. A nice big donate now in the beginning, and again, and we also focused on the services that they provided on the landing page. Actually, these are really nice pictures, so I'll let that scroll. So they provide the social work and lunch, meal planning, transportation, and of course their wellness. And we try to have the pictures represent also the services that they provide. We use the WordPress blog or the posts to kind of be a news feed that they could use. And so this template would take all of the posts and put them down at the bottom of this page. So they can go in, create a new post of something that's coming up, and it'll just show up then on the front page. I'll zip through these about us. This is the content we copied over. Again, if you link from the front, we again go into the different services that they have available. We have a place where they can put specific things that are happening this month. We also have that on the right side menu bar. They always have the current menu calendar. These are actually PDFs that they create. They create them externally because they print them out and give them to their members. We have a frequently asked questions. That was the job description. This is a nice little plug-in. Too much, sorry. The support page with donate buttons, they use Donor Drive to manage their donations. They have a general donation and a way to create donation events, and so we gave them a way to easily kind of hook those different events up and put them anywhere, but we use short codes for them to put that anywhere they want in their blogs or posts. Resources, these are just external links, and of course a contact us with calendar and a contact us form. And a contact us form, that's kind of it. There's a lot of time spent on training, there's a lot of time spent on doing the WordPress help in WordPress. My team did a great job. That was very fun and exciting to work with them, so kudos to everyone on the team. Kudos to the nonprofit representatives. They were here and helped out a lot, and it was a really great time.
I just want to jump in and say we've been trying to thank them all weekend, but I want to take this chance to thank everybody here, because without you this wouldn't happen, and we really appreciate it. You're fabulous. Thank you.
Next up is Louis' Legacy.
I'm actually going to load the website first. So this was the old site that was in a Joomla platform, which I looked up, and it wasn't even Joomla version 2, so it was really old. It was just the page was really busy, mobile-wise, it didn't really size at all. And it was just cluttered, and there was a lot going on. So we did move to WordPress. Which is nice, bigger. Okay, just want let me just point out. This is a little annual thing we've done for the past 3 years. We have a photographer donate. He's Mike Ruiz. He's this big photographer that works with all these celebrities, and he came to us and said he wanted to do this calendar for us. He donates his time, his services. All the proceeds go to us. And then all the models actually donate their time as well. But this little guy right here, Carter, is still available for adoption. He's a Basset Beagle mix, and he's adorable. So, in case you're wondering. No, that's actually he's a model, but he's like France's kickboxing champion too. So But, so we added these nice buttons to kind of target what are major areas that we wanted people to look at, the adopt, the volunteer, and the donate. This toolbar right here is our Find a Pet, which we had included on every page. Are you moving? Oh, I didn't know how to say words. We really need to do training for that person too. I think it's me. So it's on every page, so at any time, someone can come in and say they want to look for a puppy of any sort. This section, maybe we don't have any puppies. Okay, there we go. The old site actually used an iframe to pull this from Adopt a Pet, and one of our members who's not here today built an API and then with Carl, and they pulled in all the API stuff, so now we have control over how it looks, what it displays, and then yeah, they can go and see what other animals and stuff are available, which is nice. Now it doesn't have, and it is responsive. And then when you click on that, it takes them to their Adopt a Pet page, and you can find more information about them. And the dog's name is Burrito. So then we pulled over, moved to our blog. Our blog was being posted on Tumblr. And we went ahead and moved, actually I forgot to turn that on. It will be moved there. The news came in, support, we did the donate section, that same plugin that we saw before, ways you can help them, sponsors. The one thing our site didn't have before was an About Us, and we still have to pull the content for this because we didn't have it. And then we moved our contact. That was the other major thing we did was they pulled we had all our forms on FormSite, which is a lot of money for not a lot of services. And they're done within WordPress, which was Ninja Forms? Yes, and so WordPress is handling all that, so that will be a nice chunk of change that doesn't have to be spent now. And we have the contact, the foster forms, volunteer forms, all done now, handled with WordPress. And you can fill it out on your phone, in case you want to become a foster now. So it's fantastic. I extremely grateful for everybody's time that they spent in here, and because this would have been something, as I am going to be the person that is updating this and maintaining it and everything else. It was just a matter of me just not having time on top of everything else that I have going on. So this has taken a huge, it's been many, many years we've wanted to do this, so this has just been an awesome experience, so thank you guys.
Next up is Santa Maria Community Services.
The thighs don't come off very
So then there were three. But there were actually more people, we just ran them off. No, just kidding. We had a bigger team. We had about 6 people helping us out, and what we were working on is Santa Maria Community Services. They are very heavy into programs and events and classes that they offer for the community. So they did have an existing website which they worked out of Connect 5, which is an open source CMS. And it was just not working for them in terms of friendliness of maintaining it. That was the biggest part of it. And the second one was the organization of the data and stuff like that. It was just too busy. So I had this awesome team help us and get to this really cool new site, which is really nifty. It's lightweight. It's not much is happening there, but still everything is in there. So as far as the team, our biggest challenge was sifting through all that stuff that they already have, and then trying to find a good way to put it in this new site without creating it to be too heavy. The thing that really worked for us was that our nonprofit actually put in a lot of time and effort up front before we even got here on Friday. And we worked through some of that organization from there. So would you like to just go ahead and
Sure. So they were really looking for a simple design. So on the front page, we have lots of image coming. We didn't put in a lot of their art images, but we have the navigation at the top where we can click on the About Us page, and it'll show pictures instead of gray squares or circles. So that's kind of how they wanted it set up, so that they could look and have an overview. And then a lot of pages we managed to get in the content that they had been looking for, that they had already. There's quite a few places that they still need to fill in the content. One of the big things we did was making the classes a little bit more easier to look at and understand. So we've got a main section of classes, and these have pictures in them eventually. And then we also have where you can pick exactly what kind of classes you're looking for. So that was one of the things that was really a big improvement over their last class, or over their last website, and just the overall look and feel of it, to clean it up a lot and make it look more professional, more modern. Do you want to add anything?
I mean, I really have. You kind of come over.
Just two more things. First of all, it is this site now is tracked by Google Analytics. That was one thing also that they wanted, so that they can be able to see what who all is doing whatever. And the biggest thing, our team here, I don't think any one of us was a WordPress guru, and we kind of racked our brains and we figured it out together. So kudos. That was just it has been one of the best things I know I have personally done. Thanks to the organizers as well. I was actually quite nervous coming in. This is the first time I have contributed here, much less as a leader here. So it was kind of like, what's going to happen? But thank you. This was great.
Next up, Special Olympics in Hamilton County. You're the biggest team, and then no one was
Makes you nervous.
all right, I feel too.
So, Special Olympics, we created a new site for them using website, with our WordPress, like a lot of you. And we basically took the content from their existing site and moved it over to the WordPress site. And so a lot of the content remained the same. And again, we cleaned up the site a little bit. We added drop-down menus here. They didn't have them in the past. They used to have to click on About and then click on our staff and drill in to different things. The other thing that we did on our site is we added a calendar. And so we have an icon here. And on every page there is a side navigation that says upcoming events and lists everything that's coming up. And then if you click on one of the activities, if it's depending on the sport, it will actually take you to the bowling activity. I thought it went right to the page, or just go the other way? Other way. Okay, so on the bowling page, it'll take you to the calendar. And then the other thing we did that they didn't have in the past was online forms, and we used the Ninja plugin and created the athlete interest form, a volunteer form, and a teacher registration form. And it's, fill out your information, and then that is getting emailed to Lindsay for them to take that information and do what they need to with it. And then the other thing that we did that was nice is that we added a photo gallery. We hooked it into Facebook so that everyone can see all of the photos. They said that a lot of people like to download some of the photos, and so now they have full access to all of that. So. Is there anything else that you guys want to bring up? So those were the main highlights, and like I said, the content we copied from the old site and brought over and cleaned it up. So,
thank you.
That's it.
Next up is St. Peter and Paul Academy.
All right, so we had an existing WordPress. Here we go. So we had an existing WordPress site, and we used the existing theme, made a few CSS style changes to kind of improve how it operates. So originally on mobile, it was just an image with one little menu, and it was very nested. It was not a good interface, and now it works great on mobile. You can choose the menu, etc. Dive in if you want. It works quite well. So we got that going. Some other good things. The great thing is a lot of the content was already written, so that was very, very helpful. We're also able to bring in news calendaring directly from Google. And the cool thing is they have an iPad, an iPhone, and also an Android app that pulls in events from the exact same place. So now, if you were to download the Android app or the iPhone app, it's going to be the exact same events that are on the site. So that works really well. And thanks to whoever suggested the WP Help plugin, because that's amazing. So now we have all the documentation for them when they go back to their nonprofits on here's how to add stuff to the calendar, here's how to make changes. So we added that and wrote a lot of documentation as well. And one of the other great things we did is there was kind of information all over the place. I mean, we kind of tried to put this information where it's obvious, right? So here you kind of get right to the point. There's this form. And originally there were 5 different forms that were just PDFs. You print them, mail them in, or have to go to the school and take them in. And now they're actually job forms. And so now you can fill it out here, and it's automatically emailed to them. It's a decent form. A lot of information in there. And it's automatically emailed, and then we have links within the WordPress admin in the help area that say, click here and you get a whole CSV of all the applications. So there's a great way to get more information. And did I miss anything else? I think that's probably all of it.
Well, they taught us how to use it.
Yeah, but it's just a training tool, yeah.
And we took lots of notes, and we want to come back.
Westwood Collaborative Network Neighborhood Association.
All right, we'll keep this short and sweet. So when we started on Friday, all we had was, make sure I typed that right. I did. Okay, so what we had to start with was one logo in one Microsoft Word file, which was small and grainy. So one of the first things we had to do was just go in and clean up the actual logo, so it was a bit more jaggy than this. So we started with no website, no domain name, pretty much nothing. Set up WordPress website, and what we have now is we've got a website that is mostly targeted for the Westwood neighborhood and sort of the greater Dayton area in general. We've got a news feed full of what is currently just boilerplate entries. But one of the things that they wanted was something really obvious on the website where, okay, what can I do to get involved? So we've got a get involved section, we've got events calendar, We've got a donations page. We don't have a PayPal set up yet, but once they do, we'll set up the PayPal plugin via WordPress so people can donate online. We've got a list of projects. We've got a registration form for people in the neighborhood that want to register for the organization, and then most of the rest of the website is just informational, so it's information on developments or doing development in the neighborhood, various resources, sections about the board, the stakeholders, some of the history of the neighborhood, and the obligatory contact us page. And that's pretty much it. If you guys have anything else, just a big thanks to my team and my reps. And you guys have anything?
The first 2 hours were spent just going through various themes and testing them to find one that didn't take anywhere from 10 to 20 cents to look at one page or loaded faster than 20 seconds on 3G. And then most of the development effort was ripping stuff out that we didn't need because to a certain extent, large hero images and high aesthetic design did not suit the needs whatsoever. And so it was interesting how much about web development this process taught me, because a lot of what we took for granted as standard just got in the way.
I would like to say to my team very, very much thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wise educational services.
So I should say for a moment, we actually had a pretty big team up to about 8 or 9 at one point. Unfortunately, most of us weren't able to stay. So we have our designer, Laura, here, who did a fantastic job with the design, which was a big element. This was Wise is returning from last year, where we stood up a new WordPress site. And so this was overhauling the design, kind of finishing out some additional features that they have discovered they needed over the last year. So I'll focus on some of the functional aspects and turn over to Laura for kind of a walkthrough of the design. So we have galleries. So we have a new photo gallery so that they can publish photos of certain events that go on. Good new stuff. Some of the one of the big things we actually set up last year. So there's an e-commerce element to the website. So Wise sells tutoring services. They also accept donations. When we created the site last year, we did PayPal for donations and then credit card for the tutoring. Over the past year, we've had some issues with PayPal, so we converted everything over to be credit card. So that's been consolidated, a little simplified. So the online giving just takes you to one of the e-commerce pieces to filter this through the credit card process. That was a big thing. Cleaned up the forms. I don't remember if this was a new form completely or an overhaul. You built that one? Okay. All right, I'll turn it over to Laura.
So this is pretty much using a form or a theme from last year that they had purchased. And so they wanted to keep using this theme, so it was mostly just reskinning it and re-theming it. So I mostly kind of focused on the header area and then also added some stuff to the footer and rearranged it a little bit, but the layout was, we had to pretty much keep the same to the layout for the most part. But, yeah, we added, a better spot for the scripture of the month. And, but yeah, but like a lot of the interior stuff is, the layout pretty much had to stay the same. But my main job was the reskinning the hair and clear.
I just wanted to say thank you to the team. I think whatever could go wrong would go wrong, girl, but we always work through it. We had some more glitches this time, but it was a wonderful effort from my team and everyone else that will chip in and help when assistance is needed. GiveCamp is fabulous. Thank you.
And last but not least is Women Helping Women.
So we also started out with a pretty big team and had a lot of help from our team. Matt, Andy, Bridget, Sarah, Amanda is not here right now either, but had a lot of help, really good team. We may have had a little bit too much fun, but that's okay. So I want to show you where the site started. So when they came here, they had this site that basically they weren't exactly happy with the look of the site. When you get to the site, they wanted it to be more uplifting and clearer and easier to navigate. So I guess I can also show you, what's the shortcut on Mac for opening up the tools in Dev? Or not Mac, but
F12.
So also on their mobile, stuff was just too small to read. It wasn't responsive, and then when you went to menus, sometimes the menus were off the screen. That's not working right now. So now we have. Can I put it on there?
You must send it out for me. It is.
whw.easton.
East US. Cloud app.
I don't know why I didn't have that memorized. Okay, so now we wanted to, as soon as you have somebody come to the site, if they needed help immediately, they get this pop-up that let them know how to contact them right away. And also, it's a safety thing to make sure that they're in a safe place, and if they're not, it has an immediate exit for them. Or it has the information right there for them of how to be safe on their computers and on the internet, with the internet. We also made, actually I'll just show you this right quick over here. So, you won't be able to see, but when on all the numbers, when you click them, you immediately get it to call. So if they are in immediate danger, they go straight to the site and they can get help, make a call immediately. So then with the website, we kind of just wanted to make it more inviting, cleaner. You will see this woman's face a lot. That will change. We basically wanted to get the site kind of blocked out so it's more easy to see things, see where the content is, and have it be clear and more in spaces that would make sense, kind of blocked and organized. And then we had a lot of information that we had to get in here, so we did a lot of putting in things, but also making sure that we were formatting it so instead of just chunks of text, it was a lot clearer. We also put in the donation form so that it's right in the website, because before it was you would get sent over to PayPal, or you had a form that you would download. So we wanted to make that form very easily accessible. So we added that there, and then always had the Donate Today up in the top corner. We also, the forms before, you would unfortunately open it and it would be read-only Word docs. So we went ahead and fixed all of those. They were all PDFs that you could get to easily. And we added a contact page that was much clearer. So has all the phone numbers and also maps to both of their locations. Is there anything I'm missing? Oh yeah, you show them.
Chrissy! Okay, so we were concerned about safety, and this is something that they had on their old site, which we thought we really liked and we wanted to keep. So if somebody happens to be on the site and maybe like someone walks by that they don't want to see them on here, they can click this site and it will take them out. So just an extra security feature.
Yeah, and just kudos to everyone. When we first stood up here, we really asked folks at GiveCamp to be change agents to help us in our movement, and that is exactly what I got with the team. And they were very empowering to us, so just thank you very much.
A few final things to wrap up. First of all, thank our sponsors. If you haven't, there's a table down here. You can go with sponsor information, any of the company information. I'm pretty sure everyone that I've talked to from these sponsors is looking to hire people. So if anyone's looking for jobs, there's information for that down here. And thank you to Miami. I think Rod had to leave, but Rod's been here, and Miami's been our partner with this for all 7 years we've done this, and we probably couldn't do it without them, without the great facility and the internet connection, everything else we have to be able to do it this weekend. So, we always need help for next year. If anyone wants to do stuff throughout the year, we can help with additional organizers, getting things together. If you know your company or other companies for sponsorship, and then come back and volunteer again, because we can't do it without the volunteers. I mean, the organizers provide the facilitation for the volunteers to get it done. But contact information if you don't have it, which I'm sure all of you already have already. But other than that, thank you everyone, and we'll hope to see you next year.